that leads us right in to our third point and our final point of this session of Real Life with the Copelands. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. But this is our final point of when you're on full throttle to success, how you mute the noise. And Shay just led us right into this beautifully, accidentally but beautifully, is knowing that the road to success is going to be a struggle, and figuring out how to be okay with the obstacles, with the struggles, with the pain. And this is something I've just really recently, I think, gotten a little better. Maybe in the last 6 months, last year, really. I had a really off year last year. I didn't like struggling, and I didn't like some of the attacks that were coming, and they were shutting me down.
Which I want to say, you know, this had been, this has been an issue in our marriage. I didn't know how to deal with her. I mean, we had some major attacks against us and our family, and it would put her in the bed.
I would start having heart problems.
And put her in the bed. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't know how.
I would just cry.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Or.
I've gotten so much better.
Oh, you have.
So much better.
You have.
She
listens
like,
to me.
I would not. I think I struggle, just to be honest. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to sound like I'm not perfect in any way, and I do so many things wrong. But I'm not mean. I'm not a mean person.
No,
I'm never going to intentionally hurt someone. I'm never going to do anything maliciously, ever. And so I think you've helped me with this so much, and not that you are mean, but you just handle meanness so much better than I do. I think when you naturally are joyful and you're naturally a believer of people, it's a struggle when people just show an evil side to them. And
yeah, it really bothers you.
It really bothers me. It's a hard perspective or a hard pill for me to swallow when someone is just outright mean or evil, and that would put me in the bed.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle, I think, for us. It was never between us, but it would be attacks on our family, or attacks on our children, or attacks, on us in our business, whatever it was.
Right.
People can just be awful. And I would just like not want to deal. And I would just like get up in the bed and cry. I didn't want to cook. I cook because I love to. And that's why this is such a big part of our channel, which works on Tuesday, because that's something I enjoy and I love to do. And I'm like, if I love you, I'm going to feed you. And so I think when I start shutting down in that way, it would become a problem. And we are talking about this in our book. It's probably the hardest thing I've written about so far. When we dealt with attacks, and then it became a problem in our marriage because Shay's like, get out of the bed, like, this is ridiculous. You're allowing hateful other people to determine who you are. And not that I would become hateful, I would just become sad. And you did not know how to deal with my sadness. It was like I was mourning. And I would be in books, and I would be in the Word of God, and I wasn't having what I figured out about myself as we went through some serious hard times, is I wasn't trusting that God had my best interests, that God was removing the wrong people from our lives. And even though He was allowing their horrible side to be shown to me, which was so hurtful and so devastating to my soul, at the same time, I almost think for someone to be completely just cut out of my life, I have to see that terrible darkness, or I'm going to give them a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 20th chance. because I am a believer in people and I do believe the best. And I think we all make mistakes. And I think I've heard it like this. Some people have a bad day and we've got to give grace for that, because thank God people give me a lot of grace in that, because I can have a bad day. But there's a difference in a bad day and a bad heart. And so we got to be able to have that discernment of what's a bad day and a bad heart. So I think along those lines, we've got to know really, we've got to know how to not shut completely down, I think, as women. Men can do it too, though.
Well,
I see a lot of men get into depression and anxiety, and I'm not knocking you if you do. I'm never going to take medicine, and I'm never going to let a pill fix me. I'm going to deal with it myself. And it's not that I can't get depressed or I can't get anxious. I mean, I deal with anxiety a lot. Things make me very anxious. But I've learned how to navigate through that anxious feeling.
Well, and I think, just dealing with struggles and being unhealthy, dealing with the struggles, I think in the beginning of our marriage, if I was dealing with something, I just wouldn't talk. And
you're not going to not talk around me. We're going to figure it out,
just be to myself and not, and
I'd be like, what is wrong with you?
and try to figure it out on my own and deal with it. And something that Kimberly, which I still struggle with this is still a struggle with, but Kimberly's really helped me to, rely on her and communicate with her and let her help me with what I'm struggling with in my mind.
And then I point you to the Lord too when you're sharing with me.
Absolutely.
So, but I think keeping it in.
But I think a lot of people struggle that way. Is that you think that you have to struggle on your own,
especially men. Like, I don't want to burden my wife with this, and I think that's what's leading to a lot of problems in marriage. When you feel alone, this is one thing. We don't ever want one another to feel alone dealing with something. It's two become one. That's what the word says. So if he's struggling with it, I want to help him. And if I'm struggling with it, he wants to help me. And we can't do that if we're not talking about it. So he can't be afraid that I'm going to judge him for his struggle. I can't be afraid he's going to judge me. Even when I've messed up, one thing I know about Shay, I can tell him I have messed up royally. And he may be mad at me for 2 seconds, but then he's going to get over it and move forward. And that's why I feel safe to go to you. Because you're not going to stay mad if I come confide in you.
I don't know if this is true today. I just know several years ago, the professions and the highest divorce rate were police officers and firefighters. And it was for the simple fact that they would see things that the most normal people couldn't even comprehend, and that would be a struggle that they would have to deal with, but they wouldn't
share it with their spouse.
They wouldn't share it with their spouse, and they didn't talk with their spouse. And I just know that, I guess,
that would be
people
very hard.
People would say that if they wanted a good marriage, that they needed to share with their spouse, and they needed to talk about it. They needed to share what was going on.
Some of the feelings they were having.
Some of the feelings they were having. So
I probably share too many feelings at times. She's like, don't tell me everything. You don't have to tell me everything, babe. I love you. Please, can you keep some of this inside? But I think, navigating through just struggle, how to be okay with the struggle and not be okay that you don't have a perfect life. And it's like I was striving for excellence, and excellence is one of our words, crew. The W or the E stands for excellence in work. So excellence is not perfection. And that was something, he's a perfectionist. I'm not really a perfectionist, but I was where our life was concerned. I want to feel like everyone's in harmony, everyone's in happy. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to feel loved. And I just have had to figure out that I'm not in charge of his happiness. I'm not in charge of Memphis's happiness. I'm not in charge of Walker or Waverly's happiness. But obviously I can do things that would make them unhappy. So I'm going to be my best. I'm not going to go have an affair and leave Shay. That's going to make my kids unhappy. That's going to make me unhappy. That's going to make my husband unhappy. So I do understand that I can make decisions that can bring unhappiness, so I want to be aware of that. But I've also got to know I'm not in charge of everybody being happy. And I wanted to just be the happy maker. And when I figured out everybody's got to be joyful and happy on their own and find their own lane for that, that's not my responsibility. It like was freeing for me. You know what I mean? So I think it's knowing that the road to success is always uphill. I was recently reading in a book. It was so good. It said there was a missionary working in Africa, and he received a letter that said, let us know when there's a good road and we have men willing to come help you. And he responded and said, I don't need your help. I'm looking for people that are willing to come with no road. And that's the kind of people that become successful. It's not that you're waiting on somebody else to do it and you're going to follow that map. You're going to blaze your own trail. You're going to figure it out. You're going to go when there's no road. And you're going to go with your gun and be ready for the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And shoot them and keep going. And that's just got to be your mindset. Not I'm waiting for the paved road. And that's what I think's been so cool about this journey with this channel. We are definitely on an unpaved road. We don't know what this looks like. We're just sharing from our hearts. And so we don't know what this journey looks like to success, but we're sure having fun getting there. So we hope you are too. But knowing we got to keep pressing forward. We got to keep going. That if we shrink back and let somebody write something ugly and I'm scared to make a video because I read it, well, so Shay's like, I'm not letting you read them because it'll shut me down and make me not want to make a video because I'm like, oh, they're going to judge the way I look, what I have on, what blah, 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 whatever it is. Or maybe I said the wrong thing, you know, and so then I can shut down. So I just had to protect my mind from that, but not quit because somebody didn't like me. And so that's what you've got to realize, y'all. You're going to have a lot of naysayers out there when you're going to success in any journey. You're going to have a lot of people fighting against your relationship in your marriage because the world says get divorced. We were recently looking at some pictures of a Halloween party we had 10 years ago. Every couple in those pictures, everyone is divorced. But us two, we're like, we must be terrible friends. Nobody but us stayed married. But that's what the world says. They say, leave your husband, go find something different. That's not what we're believing for. And so we know people are going to come against us for that. We know that's not going to make everybody feel comfortable. But we're going to fight that good fight. We know the type of success we've had in raising children, the kind of children we have. And again, not to think we're all great, but we have exceptional human beings as adult children. We are told that constantly. Every time somebody's in the space of our young kids, our adult kids are just like, wow, are you just like beaming with pride? And y'all, we are. So we know we're the exception. We know that brings an attack on our life. We know it. But we're not going to stop imparting into other people what we've done to raise those kids. One of our next videos is going to be just some practical things we do with our kids that I feel like is raising up exceptional human beings. But, you know, knowing those attacks are going to be there, and people, jealousy, y'all, it's a real thing. It's just, and we've talked about this on a video before, but Shay and I are not jealous people. We champion other people. We love seeing other successful families, and we're truly cheering those people on. And we're just so taken back. That's a lot. The way of the world is to be jealous and judgmental and think, oh, they must not really have it or whatever. You know, we were talking about that this morning. And I think jealousy ruins a lot of families.
I mean,
a lot of relationships, dynamics within families. People, I just don't. Have you? What's that song? A Jealous Bone. Who sings that? It's an old country
is that
song.
Randy Travis?
I got a jealous bone. I'm just like, it's sad, but I think it's recognizing when you're not championing someone else. You know, I've recently been working with just a true champion. She's amazing. And great things are happening for her because she's doing the work and because she's got her blinders on and she's not looking right, she's not looking left. And I've poured a lot of time and energy into this individual, and I see so much jealousy cropping up around her, and it's so sad to me. And I told Shay, I said, this is the first time, I've always seen jealous things and actions, but I've never seen it as big and bold as what I've seen recently. And I'm like, it is really a monster in people, and it's not geared towards me, it's been geared towards a girlfriend of mine. And I just think it's so sad. And that people don't champion others, and they more think, instead of, for me, when I see somebody doing something, I think if she can do it, I can do it. I'm doing it too. This is awesome. We're going to do it together. Instead, it's like this, I don't know, craziness coming out in certain people, and just hatefulness and saying little negative things to try to make her doubt herself or doubt her journey. And it's sad. That's sad.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to know that when you're throttled down, headed to success, you're going to have all these things, but be okay with the obstacles and be okay that it's not perfect.
Well, and I think
So
maybe
just kind of bring it all in.
if you're watching this video, maybe you are the one that's the jealous person. Maybe you're watching the video.
I hope not.
And we hope not, but
hope not.
what, you can change the way that you think. I'm a firm believer.
Absolutely.
And so you might be sitting here, watching Kimberly listen to her talk, and you're just like, oh, well, I'm better than her, or I know more than her.
She has a lot of struggles. I do.
I don't,
sure do, y'all.
I don't know, and maybe you have a friend that's more successful than you, and it just makes you mad,
It makes some people mad.
or they
you don't
drive
wanna be
or
around
they
them.
drive a better
I don't know.
car, or their husband is better, or whatever it is.
Her husband's better than mine, or she
you
has better
really
friends, or
have
whatever it is.
to.
Yeah.
Or their kids, we deal with a lot with sports. Oh, well, their kid's a pitcher and mine plays outfield, or their kid
There's a
starts
lot.
and my kids start. I mean, it really,
So many areas.
it really,
We could do a whole segment just on this.
it really stems from jealousy. I mean, it really, really does. And so, really, you got to first of all
Reel it in.
Exactly. And so, how do you reel it in? Well, go to step number 2: how you do your daily habits.
Yes.
How do you get your mind right where you're not able to think, to be
right.
jealous?
And believe in yourself. And this is one thing that's huge, that we were having this conversation this morning, and I was just bragging on some people that I love and how amazing they are. And Shay will tell you, I truly champion people. And like I was talking about how happy I was for one of my relatives and just the life that she has. And I'm just so proud for her. And I love it for her. And I said, and what's sad is not everyone has that same feeling about this particular person. And the thing I know is when you're confident in yourself and your marriage and your kids, and you're just blinders on, not looking right, not looking left, and you're doing your best, I think every day, your heart's in the right place. It's easy to champion other people, and it's easy to say, I'm so glad she found love. I'm so glad she found success. I'm so happy for the life that this person's living or that person's living. You're proud for people because you know who you are in the Lord, and it gives you the confidence that you don't have to compete, that God has called you to what he's called you to, and he's called them to what he's called them to. And an example I gave, we have mentors in our life that are our pastors, and they have amazing marriage, amazing kids, amazing success. They've got it all. They really have it all. And we want to be as great as they are. Now, there's things that they have about their life that we don't want about our life, and that's okay. But I can even look at little Pastor Precious, they call her, Pastor Sheila's legs, and go, oh my gosh, she's got the best legs in the whole world, because she does. I don't work for those legs. Would I love to have her calves? Absolutely. And maybe someday I'm going to have them. But I don't look at her and I'm jealous of them. I think she's precious and gorgeous and amazing. And she does the hard work to have that. And I can have it too if I choose to work out like she does. And like I said, I need to do better because I would love to have those calves. But at the same time, I'm not sitting around envious or thinking she knows something I don't know, or she's got something better than me. I can have the same things if I do the same work. And so I look at people as an inspiration. She makes me want to get on the treadmill and put it on a 12 and go for an hour uphill so I can build my calves up too, because I know the year I did it, I had good calves. So here's the thing. You got to be willing to put and that's a silly thing, but it's a little thing that's a big difference. It's the same thing. It's just like an example with your marriage, with your kids. You can have it too. I've got friends or ex-friends that were extremely envious of our kids. But when they're here with their kids are acting up and they don't get up and discipline them. Well, that's why their kids act like hoodlums. And our kids are good. And it's not that we have perfect kids, but we do the hard things even when we're laying down watching a movie and they act up. We get up and correct, because where there's no correction, we've been taught there's no direction. But then they're envious when we're out at a restaurant and our kids can speak to adults and sit for 2 hours and have a meal of why can our kids do that and their kids can't. Well, they've been taught small disciplines in life, so it makes a big difference. That's just one thing. Be willing to do the hard things to have the big things. Go ahead.
I
can't stop talking.
I know. You can.
I'm so passionate about, you can have it too. Just do what
Well, and I think,
and
here's the thing is that selfishness and jealousy go hand in hand, because, when you're little, you're born selfish for the most part. If you notice kids, most kids are mine.
no.
With two kids, if one toy is one kid's and another kid picks it up, mine. And so I think that's where jealousy comes in a lot too. And so
if they're not taught.
And it can come in. And I just want to be real. We've had situations with our older kids where one was jealous of the other kids, and
we've had to correct
and we've had to correct them, because you know what? We want them to be good adults.
Yes.
Whereas
like,
now they're
okay.
adults and say, our daughter is very successful in her business, and where our older son, and she's younger, our older son could be jealous. There could be where he's jealous, where he's less financially successful than her. He could think that.
At this point, yes.
He could, right now, he could think that. Like, he could have that in his mind, and he's mad at her, and he's jealous of her. But generally, he's not. He champions her. He's proud of her.
He knows his path is looking different than hers.
Exactly. And I think that as parents, and that's something that we have to correct.
Yes.
And have to be able to talk to our kids about to help them, because selfishness turns into jealousy.
And if we don't correct it when they're young, that then when they're 30 or 40 and they're married, we're not able to speak into their life as much as we have at this young age. That when little things have creeped in when they were teenagers, you don't make this one do this, or you don't make this one. Well, your paths are different. You don't have to do the chores they do, and they don't have, so we've addressed those things. So I feel like we've had great success in our children championing each other and not pulling each other down, because we've worked on it, and we have had things come up to say, oh no, we are family. Families do not compete. We are not. Yes, we can compete with being the best of for ourselves, but we're not competing with each other.
Well, and that's
Unless we're playing,
or we're playing board games or something, then we're competing against each other.
And they're real
But
competitive,
here's
and
what-
I just want music on.
But here's, and this is what we, what we believe is that, and we say this all the time, is that amateurs compete with others. Professionals compete with themselves. And
I
so,
don't ever even look at a scoreboard. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to be my best. Shay does.
no, I guess
I was thinking, I was thinking about the year when I was number one of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I never looked at the scoreboard, ever. It was just, I needed money. I needed to be my best
just
for
ran
myself. I
your
just
race.
ran my race. I never knew who was 2 or 3, or if I was ahead. If I ended up being number 1 because I was my best, I was number 1. I know most people don't operate that way. I'm a very different creature. But for me, I don't need a scoreboard to define me. If I know when I'm good and when I'm not. When I'm not my best, I don't care where I am on the scoreboard. When I am my best, I hope I make it up there. But I'm not, if I do my best and I'm 10, I did my best.
Well, and I think that goes back to the, that statement that I made, amateurs compete with others, professionals compete with themselves, where, it is healthy for competition, and let others that, that are close to you to challenge you, to make you better, to do
And
better.
I think you've got to be careful with people that you love. You will really hurt a relationship if, let's say, you're competitive and I'm not. Let's just give this as an example, because this is the facts. So he's a very competitive spirit person. Shay likes to win. If you're calling me and asking me, what's the interrogative type questions, because you interrogate sometimes. I'm speaking a little negative, but you do. You can ask a question that feels like an interrogation.
So if I ask a question, it's interrogating.
No, but just sometimes.
Okay.
And if you're asking me something where I'm feeling like it's an interrogation, it can hurt our relationship, where you're trying to get information to compete with me. I'm not going to like that. That's going to make me feel upset. Do you not agree?
Yeah, but what am I trying to compete?
Well, I'm just saying in general, if we don't compete with each other, but if we were, like, what if you're like trying to get information to be better than me? That's not going to be good in our family. So if I saw that, I'm going to shut it down. Wouldn't you? You would never do this. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If that was going on, you wouldn't like it. What if I was calling you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, what if we had a weight loss competition? And I'm like trying to get an edge to lose more weight than you, or, I'm just saying something silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you got to be real careful with when you're, yes, it's okay to want to win. Absolutely. That's why there's scoreboards.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got to be very conscientious in families. And with people you're close with, do you want to win more than you value the relationship?
Right,
Because
right.
when
That's
you're
good.
putting
That's good.
negatives
Yeah.
in a relationship so you can win, that's not good.
Right. No,
That's my opinion.
absolutely.
But I'm not a competitor like you.
You
so.
are competitive. You like to win.
I like it when I win, but I'm okay when I lose.
She likes to win against me.
I just won at Yahtzee twice. You won once, but I was the grand prize. So he actually owes me some really big favors from the Yahtzee game. He just forgot about them. So, okay, y'all, that's what we've got for you today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hopefully you can implement some of these things in your own life. And y'all, we are going to the top. We can't be stopped.
That's right. So one,
Straight to the top.
make sure you get recharged.
Yeah.
2,
Daily habits.
do your daily habits. Whatever that is for you,
Yeah.
find out what it is so you can get your mind right, your body right, whatever it is
Yes.
to deal with. Number 3 is your struggles, right? Dealing with your struggles.
No, you're going to have struggles, and be good at struggling. Just
Right.
be good at going through the struggles, but still pressing forward. Still keep going. No matter what is coming at you, You're like in the car. This is how I drive. You're in the car going 90 miles an hour. Bugs are hitting the windshield. Everybody's behind you because you're going to the top. Yeah, we're doing it.
She's fired
It's gonna
up.
be awesome.
She's fired
I
up
am.
today.
It's gonna be a good day.
She's fired up.
Alabama's playing LSU.
Yeah.
I'm for LSU.
Oh, you
I
are?
have too many LSU friends, so go Tigers.
I'll be LSU. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. We love you, Lolly. We're cheering y'all on. So, y'all have a great day.
Peace. Don't forget, comment, subscribe, tell your friends.
Get your fat pants ready. Thanksgiving's almost here. You better be working out like Shay so you can eat lots of dressing. I make really good dressing. I'm gonna show y'all on real life with Copelands. I better do a trial run. You can eat that.
Yeah, and something cool's coming out that I'm
Yeah.
doing. Y'all be watching. So,
Yeah.
peace.